He wouldn't fucking get rid of the key! Fucking dumb game!
So, I have been watching these Iceberg videos for a while and I told myself, hey, I can make one, of course. I make videos, right? And since I like indie games, I should do one based on this image by Reddit user Imasgrohn. I think that's how you pronounce them. If you don't know what an iceberg is, or the basic structure of it, it's basically a list of well-known facts and trivia on the top and to the bottom, which contains some fucked up shit that we don't know about. I know this isn't your typical IndieAnjelo video, but I wanted to do something new. The whole iceberg explain trend isn't that old. It's like I think almost a year old at this point, so there's that. And with this iceberg, I'll be doing my best in talking about indie games listed on here, including some additions for myself. And this video won't be talking about like obscure facts and trivia. We'll be delving into like actual indie games made by people. So I just want to say that just in case if you're expecting like a usual iceberg video, but you get it. So sit back, relax, because we'll be delving into the indie game iceberg, from well-known games to the obscure and disturbing ones. VVVVVVV is a game that would be considered one of the earliest games that entered into the indie game phase, even a month before Super Meat Boy. Developed by Terry Kavanagh and released in 2010 on Steam, you played a role of Captain Viridian after surviving a malfunction, the dimensional interference in their ship, taking his crew to safety through a teleporter. However, his crew members have gone missing and he has to go on a search to find them all. The game is designed as a precision platformer, avoiding obstacles with a gravity mechanic, going either upwards or downwards, really spicing things up. For the time, it was pretty innovative, since not many platformers back then used that kind of mechanic, except for Terminus, that the creator took inspiration for the gravity mechanic from. It's a small niche game that doesn't take too long to finish, could probably take, I don't know, 30-ish minutes, if you know what you're doing. Plus, the soundtrack is pretty badass, composed by Magnus Poulsen, also known as Soul Eye. Cave Story. You guys know my love and passion for this game. I love this game to death. And when I first played this game and laid my eyes on this game, like for the first time, it really got me through a very tough time, especially in my first year of high school. I just wanted to say that because I really like this game a lot. Anyways, Cave Story is an independent game developed, sprited, and composed by Pixel, also known as Dukusu Monogatari. Alright then. During his time in college, and was released back in 2004. This game is widely known for starting the foundation for indie games back in the day, and grew popular over the years, even way before Shovel Knight became a thing. Cave Story is a Metroidvania game where you play as a robot named quote after a war and waking up in a cave where you start out your story. Meeting all sorts of characters along on your adventures in a floating island. Yes, this game takes place in a floating island. This game is heavy on content with the items and guns you can collect, including upgrades, each character having a motivation or backstory, and so much more. And Nicholas acquired the title in order to release the game onto Nintendo's Wii Shop services in early 2010, then released a remake onto the 3DS, and then finally Cave Story Plus, including the scrapped Wind Fortress level and the ability to switch from modern to original aesthetics for your viewing pleasure. And did I mention the music slaps too? Yume Nikki, also known as Dream Diary, is a RPG Maker 2003 game by Kikiyama, a Japanese game designer, and was released in 2004. Later on, distributed by Playism on February 10th, 2012, and the English localization released on July 11th, 2012. The game lets you take control of a young girl named Maritsuki, a hikikomori who goes into her weird and surreal dreams whenever she goes to sleep in her bedroom. The dreams you go through are pretty indescribable. All of these things can mean many things from a person's perspective, and dissect what these experiences make Maritsuki. Yume Nikki created a genre of exploration games that many followed by making fan sequels, such as Yume Tuki and Dot Flow. The one that I like, aesthetically wise. I advise watching Nitrorad's video on it, reviewing and analyzing the themes of Yume Nikki, linked down in the description below. Touhou. The Touhou project, or also known as Touhou, is a bullet hell shoot 'em up developed by Jonya Zone Oda, or simply Zun, and was released on PC-98 computers in 1997 to the Japanese audience only. The game lets you choose either Remu or Marissa, having their own bullet type and skills. Really, this is just a game where you survive incoming bullets from enemies and get the highest score, plus battling bosses in the process. What mainly got this series popular is by the release of Embodiment of Scarlet on August 11th, 2002 overseas for Microsoft computers, and it really took off with its difficult gameplay but familiar mechanics of existing shmups, and overall set an audience for these type of games over time. You know, bullet hell shoot 'em ups. Or maybe it's just the character designs. Eversion, a cutesy-like platformer developed by these fucking names, Zarathustra Productions, and released in 2008 for Microsoft computers. You play as the flower-like character ZT, who embarks on a journey to rescue a princess named Nehema from Golubas of the North. It's your average platformer where you stomp on enemies and get collectibles until it takes a very dark turn. As you advance through each level and notice that every level slowly turns demonic and hellish, making the entire playthrough creepy and uncomfortable. This was obviously inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, and the game even warns the player in the intro screen of such things depicted in the video game. Ow! Oni.
See, it's scary though, cause the only moving thing on the screen is you, and you're not used to other moving things, and then when you
is a survival horror RPG maker game developed by No Props. Props to you, man! And released in 2007. The player takes the role of Hiroshi, who enters a haunted mansion followed by his friends, Takuro, Takashi, and Mika, to fuck around, I guess. Seconds later, after entering the house, the front doors get locked and the gang has to figure out an escape plan, however, only to be interrupted by the demon, Oni. Throughout the game, you're tasked to do puzzles and exploration while running away from Oni and uncover the secrets of the mansion and the demon itself. The game built up a cult following, and it even spawned a manga series and a live action movie even. This thing doesn't even look remotely like a fucking demon. Looks like a grown-ass man baby. A man baby fetus thing. I don't fucking know. I have to take a different approach with this, so just give me a sec. Undertale is the best-selling walking simulator of 2015. Truly a work of art by one man that brought all of indie games to shame. That's including Yandere Simulator. With bullet hell segments implemented in some parts of the video game, you play as a lost child who has fallen into the depths of Mount Itoi. Later, greeted by a satanic flower who wants to devour your soul and your rights of freedom of speech. Then, the goat mother named Toriel, who guides and pretty much makes you a beta male throughout the introduction of Undertale. Later on, throughout the game, you get to meet unusual and weird characters in your adventures of friendship or destruction. The battle system is very different unlike other indie games in this iceberg. Act like a bitch and you won't kill someone, or play the game like an actual RPG to gain EXP, while moving your decapitated heart to dodge incoming projectiles. It's a very simple concept to grasp on, and easy to pick up. I won't talk more of Undertale, for it is a phenomenal game, questioning your moral decisions and sacrificing your decency to kill furry in this game. I give Undertale 8 Frisk X Chara fanfics out of 10. Carlson! Caramel Dance. Carlson is a upcoming parkour FPS game being developed by Danny. And this game looks fucking cool. From the videos and pictures I've gathered from the Steam store page, it will feature fast-paced movement, sliding, shooting, and slow-mo mode. But most importantly, parkour. And honestly, I haven't even heard of this until this iceberg. It doesn't have a release date as of today, but hopefully it will be released soon because I want to get my hands on it. Usu! Exclamation mark. Or Oso, not sure. Usu is a rhythm game by Dean Peppy Herbert and released in 2007. The game simply involves you touching numbered circles to the rhythm of a song, depending on the tempo of the song, at times making the gameplay extremely hard and fast-paced, yet exhilarating. I recommend using a drawing tablet like a Wacom, Bamboo, whatever they're called, because this game does not feel great with a mouse. Trust me, you'll have like hand problems. Hand problems. Among Us has become one of the most popular, I guess, party games to ever be released to the masses of 2020, especially when we are in a worldwide epidemic. Literally released last year, players assume roles of crew members and imposters, each randomized for each player when a new game starts. Crew members do tasks within the ship, taking out the trash, all sorts. While imposters, the fun part of the game in my opinion, actually kill one of the crew members, making the game have that thriller detective thing going on. If any of the crew members spotted a dead body or witnessed a murder by an imposter, they call everyone in for the discussion. These discussions can go in different ways of being kicked out of the ship, mostly innocent players who hasn't done a thing, or in other words, being sus. I used a funny word. Sometimes players manage to get the imposter. Sometimes. The success rate, it can be a bit low at times, well, in my experience of playing this game, or accidentally kicking out one of your crew members, thinking that they are the imposter, but they're not. Making the game a bit competitive and finding out who's the actual imposter. Give Among Us a try if you like having huge heated discussions with your friends, or arguments, more like. A Short Hike. Compared to other games beneath the surface, this is very tame. Very tame. A Short Hike is a relaxing Animal Crossing-like game by Adam Guru, or Griu, and released in 2019. Key features that the game offers you are exploring the vast land of Hawk Peak Provincial, taking on different paths leading you to something, take a hike at your own pace by putting the time in fishing or swimming by the lake shore, find hidden treasures, chat up with other hikers that you can meet on your ventures, and much more. This game looks like it has that calming, soothing feel to it, with low poly graphics that is reminiscent of the PS1 era. Doki Doki Literature Club. Do you want a different visual novel experience? An after-school club run by high school girls? Doki Doki Literature Club is the club for you then. Made by Team Savato and released in the year 2017, the game takes place at a high school, where you stumble upon a club with 4 girls running it: Sayuri, Natsuki, Monika, and my personal favorite, Yuri. What makes this game different from other anime visual novels? What makes this particular game so special? Similar to a version, it takes a complete 180 and breaks the fourth wall, alongside its themes of reality, isolation, and identity. This created a wide set of speculations on the character's story and how Monika became a god for some reason. That sort of stuff. Doki Doki Literature Club puts a new spin on the already established visual novel genre. Oh boy, Baldi's Basics. Baldi's Basics is an educational-like game. It's not fully an educational game, but why the fuck did I write that on? By Mika McGonigal in the year of 2018, emulating the likes of early 90s education games, specifically Sonic Schoolhouse. You take the role of an anonymous character who goes to school and solve math problems, but yet, like Doki Doki or Version, there's a spooky twist to it. Joining in the bandwagon of spooky indie games of 2010, even though it's super late into that lifespan. If I'm going to be honest, I haven't really touched Baldi's Basics, and I don't know a whole lot about it due to the fact that it's yet another scary indie game, as if it was made for FNAF fans alike, and that turned me off Five Nights at Freddy's. Speaking of FNAF, or Five Nights at Freddy's, is a game made by Scott Cawthon and released in 2014 after being bitched at for his last game. The game takes place at a pizzeria during your night shift as a security guard featuring 4 animatronics, basically just sitting in a small office and looking at TV screens the whole time. And like just, fending off these, monstrous animatronics. I don't really play this game a whole lot, but I heard it's quite popular. Anyways, after the success of the game, Scott went ahead and made multiple sequels, adding in new animatronics and gameplay to mix things up. The series also has lore to speculate and uncover, since there are many secrets to find within these games. Five Nights at Freddy's built a reputation of indie game horror over the years, spawning countless games like FNAF to imitate the feel and scare factor of said series. Baba is You. Baba is You is a puzzle game by Hempuli Oi, released in 2019. The game is about a sheep thing named Baba who has to solve puzzles by moving objects, but not only just objects, manipulating the worlds in the game to affect said objects in the level to advance to the next level. Unexpected things could happen when you do this, such as removing stop from wall is, allowing you to move in the wall. If that makes any sense, play the game yourself. I haven't played this game. Liev Oma. Liev Oma is a atmospheric narrative walking interaction game developed by Florian Veltman and released in 2016. You take the role of a grandson and his grandmother taking a walk in the forest, accompanied by the relaxing piano soundtrack. Apparently this game is a tribute to the author's grandmother, and it has a theme of people helping us become a responsible and caring person. I gotta say, it's really sweet for this person to make a tribute for their grandma. Forager. Forager, an open-world exploration game released in 2019 by Hopfrog, originally for a game jam. It's a game about collecting resources and exploring lands and expanding to new lands by purchasing them. You use said resources to craft items and structures, build a base on an empty landscape and level up, and learn new skills while raiding dungeons. It's a game similar to the likes of Zelda and Terraria, and the inspiration is obvious. Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Program, released in 2015, is a space simulation game by Squad. The game places you in charge of the Kerbals, an alien race, and help them assemble usable spacecraft to go into space, and research to learn new components for your next project. I have not much to say because I didn't really play this game, so sorry if this entry wasn't very descriptive. Little Misfortune. Little Misfortune is a point-and-click adventure game released in 2019 by Kill Monday Games AB. The game lets you take control of a young girl named Misfortune Ramirez Hernandez, alongside her new friend, Mr. Voice. It is a game where it is both sweet and dark with choices you make that have consequences. Celeste. Celeste is a platformer meant to piss you off, but rewards you with story segments throughout the game. Released in 2018 by Maddie Makes Games, it tells a story of a troubled girl named Madeline who has to climb up a mountain while fighting off her inner demons. Levels introduces the player with new game mechanics that makes the game harder each time as you get further into the game. Collectibles such as strawberries and cassette tapes, making previous levels replayable, and with the cherry on top, the story greets you with themes of mental illness, depression, and anxiety, and charming characters you meet along the way. Do consider getting Celeste because it is one of my top games of 2018, and it deserves to be played. Such a masterpiece. Plug and Play. Plug and Play is a surreal game dealing with plugs by Mario von Rickenbach and Michael Frey and released in 2015. This game isn't too meaty on the information, so I'll just read it from the Steam page. Explore the universe of Plug and Play, an interactive animation drawn by Michael Frey and coded by Mario von Rickenbach, an unshamedly surreal play and plugs. Okay. Sort the Court. Funny thing is when I was searching up the game, it was readily available for me to play on the itch site. I played it for a bit, forgetting I got the script to write, but anyway. Sword to Court is a small sim game by Graham Borland, published in 2016. You are a king in a kingdom, and it's your job to sort out your town and your people by growing its population, happiness, and wealth by making decisions with a simple yes or no answer. If you carefully choose, some of it will help you and your city will expand. There is RNG involved, whether it's happiness, wealth, or population, which can increase or decrease, and there are small requests which give you the choice if you want to invest money into it. It's fairly a small game, so give it a shot if you have time. Death Trips. I took the time to play this expecting it to be a horror exploration game taking place at a hotel, but I was very surprised by how short this game is. Death Trips is a short horror experience game by Alberto Navarro, or their alias, former Muse, in 2018. The game starts with an introduction of the story of a serial killer, Lady Death, staying at a hotel, and the player plays as a character named Inspector M. James. They have to investigate this criminal currently staying at the hotel. Shortly after, you're in the lobby while music from the radio plays in the background as you go forth to the elevator to get to the next floor. As you go up and exited the elevator, you are now in the dark hallway. Seconds in, the lights turn on, showing the suspected killer running towards you until they trip over the table and die after falling onto the floor. Hence the name, Death Trips. It was really funny and clever, and it got a lot of praise from Markiplier playing it for the first time. Overland. Overland is about a game where you take care of your group of survivors on a post-apocalyptic road trip across the United States. A turn-based survival game by Finji in 2019. Taking place after an apocalypse, you and your group of travelers must traverse in America, surviving the onslaught of monsters. Like any of your typical survival games, it is a must to keep fueling your car, scavenge for items or food, and rescue survivors, but in a turn-based fashion. The game also involves hard choices which can affect your playthrough, but most importantly, saving that damn dog. You gotta save the dog first, man. It's, always save the dog in video games. Friday Night Funkin'. I couldn't resist adding this game to the iceberg because it's literally everywhere. On YouTube I see it, on Twitter I see it, even on Facebook of all places I see it. But anyways, Friday Night Funkin', a game made by Ninja Muffin 99 with help from Kawaii Sprite with the music and artist Phantom Arcade. Friday Night Funkin's gameplay is similar to the likes of Dance Dance Revolution and Parappa the Rapper, and the overall style of the game is reminiscent of early 2000s Flash games. This game quickly became popular when it was first published in November of last year, with the abundance of mods to play around with, fan art, videos about it, and so much more that a community can contribute, especially when the team behind the game launched their Kickstarter for the full game, a full game too ambitious than the Flash game. Slender, the game that started it all in the indie game horror genre. I think, I'm not too sure. Slender, based on the creepypasta Slenderman, is a free-to-play indie game developed by Parsec Productions and released on June 26, 2012. In this game, your objective is to find the 8 pages and fuck off, I guess. Can't really say much for this game since the gameplay itself is just your average horror game, but yet blew up to popularity back then.
Super Meat Boy!
Super Meat Boy, a hard-as-nails platformer developed by Edmund McMillan, started out as a Flash game on Newgrounds, then released on October 20th, 2010 to Steam and Xbox Live Arcade. You play as a hunk of meat named Meat Boy who must save his girlfriend, Bandage Girl, from the evil clutches of Dr. Fetus. As you're doing this, you venture through 6 worlds, each of them having their own different ways to complete them, including collectibles such as bandages in each level for you to get, unlocking a wide variety of characters such as the kid from I Wanna Be the Guy and Commander Video from the Bit Trip series. A Hat in Time. This fun little cute as heck 3D platformer, a better platformer than Yooka-Laylee, let's be fucking real here. A Hat in Time, developed by Gears for Breakfast, first announced through their Kickstarter, successfully gaining over $200,000, and it took over 5 years to fully develop the game and release it to the public in 2017, getting overwhelming popularity due to its gameplay similar to Super Mario Sunshine and having memorable characters levels, and music in the game. In A Hat in Time, you play as Hat Girl, who traverses through open-ended worlds to collect timepieces, while stitching hats for powers. After release, Gears for Breakfast released 2 DLCs to the game, the first one being Seal the Deal that offers more levels, and Yakuza Metro, also offering the same, including Online Party, where you can have friends play with you over the internet. The Binding of Isaac. After Super Meat Boy, Edmund made a game for a game jam named The Binding of Isaac, as a flash game in 2011, then re-released as Rebirth in 2014, a game loosely based on the biblical story of the same name, roguelike elements, and heavily inspired by Zelda. The Binding of Isaac is Edmund's take on his early childhood growing up in a religious household at the time. As for the game's story, you play as Isaac, a child who lives with his mom in a small house on a hill. One day, Mom hears a voice from above and strips Isaac from everything and locks him up in his room. Eventually, Mom wanting to kill him, Isaac then escapes to the basement to start his journey underneath. This game has a lot of content, from unlockables, characters, endings, and items by completing the game a number of times. Basically a lot of replayability, since this is a roguelike dungeon game that deals with heavy RNG. So your game will be new no matter how many times you start a new run. And recently the game got its new and last expansion, Repentance. This game will consume your life to no end. I'm not kidding, there's a lot to do in this game, including the challenges too. I forgot about those actually. Hotline Miami. Hotline Miami is a 2D top-down action game by Denton Games and Abstraction, and published by Devolver Digital on October 23rd, 2012 to critical acclaim. The game stars Jacket, the protagonist taking phone calls and doing errands for different people. Really, you go to the location to kill Russian mobsters. The game is filled with 80s aesthetic up the ass, and I really appreciate that sort of art style they were going for, since this game takes place in the 80s. Makes sense. The story itself is very self-explanatory, but behind that hides something far more, I guess, convoluted as you piece together throughout the game, especially in the sequel. The sequel explains a lot of things if you can piece everything together. Spelunky. Spelunky is a 2D roguelike platformer by Mossmouth, published in August 8th, 2013. This game features randomly generated levels for you to explore with treasure, traps, and monsters in each of them, within the deep underground. The only reason why I put this in the iceberg is because I would watch videos of Joel from Vinesauce play it. Not really my game, but I thought it'd be cool to put it on here. Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is a 2D platforming video game developed by Yacht Club Games, released on June 26, 2014 for PC, Nintendo Wii U, and the Nintendo 3DS. Later released for Mac, Linux, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita or PS Vita for short, Xbone or Xbox One, Amazon Fire TV, okay, and Nintendo Switch, and later on the 4 expansions, Plague of Shadows, Spectre of Torment, King of Cards, and Shovel Knight Showdown, the fighting game of Shovel Knight. The premise of this game follows a knight named Shovel Knight who goes on a quest to rescue his beloved partner, Shield Knight, from the Tower of Fate. First, he has to defeat the Enchantress, who is protected by her Order of No Corridor. Shovel Knight is a love letter to old school platforming to the likes of DuckTales and Mega Man, and, honestly by far the best game to ever be released in the last generation. Great level design, controls, graphics that resembles NES games, and a soundtrack composed by Jake Kaufman. Shovel Knight is the game that you should play. It's such a phenomenal platformer, including its other 3 expansions, each having its own different play styles and characters. You should really play this game. It's so fucking good. Cuphead, a game that started small and grew to become the most played and popular game in our generation. The reason why I said that is because Cuphead is nothing like any other games to be released in our generation. Cuphead is a 2D run and gun video game developed by brothers Chad and Jared Moldenhor as Studio MDHR. released on September 29th, 2017 to Xbox One and PC. Cuphead is inspired by rubber hose animation, which can be seen in 1930s cartoons such as Disney and Fleischer Studios, while borrowing gameplay elements such as Contra. Everything is hand-drawn, including backgrounds. That and an orchestrated swing soundtrack to keep its 30s aesthetic. You can see how much the animators, developers, artists, and composers of this game put their heart and soul into it, and it shows after all of these years. And I've seen a trailer from 2010 and it was released in like almost 4 years ago. Holy shit. It's frustrating, yes, but you replay the level or boss fights to see those beautifully handcrafted animations in one single level. Burn Ban. Burn Ban is a surreal exploration game by Tum and released in 2015. Yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of exploration games in this iceberg, so look forward to that, I guess. The game takes place at an alien cyberpunk city, and you pretty much just walk around, exploring the depths of this city, going to places that resemble a school, a bar, and some sort of civilization with aliens. Distorted background noises can be heard throughout the game as you walk through the streets and fall down into the sewers. I guess I could say that this game could be artistic in its way. I think the game tries to tell its world building through the use of exploration. It's an okay game, and plus the creator of this game is working on a sequel. Hylix. I have known about this game ever since I watched a video about it by yet again NitroRad, and the game has sparked some interest in many people again due to the release of the sequel Hylix 2. Hylix, made by Mason Lindroth in 2013, is a game with simplified JRPG elements but uses the surreal and abstract art style with the use of clay. The game tells a tale of a man named Wayne who travels around the world. The game utilizes a monotone soundtrack, very different from JRPGs you'd hear from. Hylix is a unique game that takes that element and turns it into a fever dream, something you'd see in your time being high. I think I might give Hylix a shot since this game is the kind of game I'd play, since I like weird shit like this. Super Win the Game. Super Win the Game is your run-of-the-mill retro Metroidvania platformer game by Minor Key Games and released in 2014. It is a sequel to the freeware game You Have to Win the Game. The game features a vast open world with hidden treasures, power-ups, and abilities that will aid you throughout the game. This game could be compared to an NES game from the likes of Zelda 2 or Metroid. Guitar Flash. Ever since Guitar Hero was very popular in its heyday, people who couldn't get it had to resort to this. Or Clone Hero. It's basically just Guitar Hero, but it's in Flash no less. You play through a song while hitting the right fret within the rhythm. Guitar Flash mainly uses copyrighted songs by overlaying a YouTube video over the game. I don't know how that works, I never played the game myself. And like I said, you know, Clone Hero, I'm kind of a Clone Hero guy, so there's that. Eat Girl. Eat Girl is a surreal take on Pac-Man, made by Tessa Load and released in 2019. It's like Pac-Man but innovative, where you actually have to worry about enemies, obstacles, and game-changing mechanics that come in your way. Each level can be varied with different mechanics thrown into there to make it not repetitive. I wanna be the guy. Who here wants to be the guy? I wanna be the guy, that's for sure. But I don't like dying all the fucking time, because this game isn't easy to master. I Wanna Be the Guy is a difficult platformer by Michael K. O'Reilly in 2007. This game will kick you in the balls and spit at you because this is genuinely a very hard game. I'm talking about cheap deaths, enemy placements, hazard placements, bosses you can't even beat on your first try while hiding behind colorful graphics, sprites, and assets taken from other video games, adding the charm to the game. I Wanna Be the Guy spawned a multitude of fan games after release. Worlds.com. Ever liked the Windows 98 aesthetic? Then download Worlds.com. Made by Worlds Incorporated and first released in 1995, Worlds.com is a virtual-based chat game or social game where you choose an avatar to your liking and go into worlds to interact with other users from around the world. Worlds.com is very notorious for its lore, and to this very day it's still alive. There are thousands of videos talking about, especially ones that delve into the topic of the creepiness of worlds. Wada no Hara. Wada no Hara and the Great Blue Sea is a RPG Maker 2000 game by Deep Sea Prisoner, released in 2013, following the reboot release in 2020. The game is about a character named Wada no Hara who returns to the Blue Sea after a trip. Eventually, she is greeted by the residents of Tatsusa Kingdom. However, the kingdom is sending their troops for an invasion. So Wada no Hara, and with the power of familiars, are going to solve the problem with the 6 blue orbs so she can connect them, making a barrier and protecting the Blue Sea. I don't know, I just got this information off from the wiki page, so bear with me. Don't let the name fool you, since the game has scenes dealing with sexual abuse and violent imagery. The game can get very uncomfortable at times, as well as having the cutesy anime style and characters to boot with. The developer in mind, Deep Sea Prisoner, has gotten themselves into controversy after drawing one of their underage characters from the game in a sexual act. Sexual assault for that matter, and that made fans very upset and offended that the creator had to take it down and eventually their account on Tumblr. Vinnie Vol, also known as Vinnie Vol's Existential Nightmare. This is the first fake game to come up in the iceberg. Vinnie Vol's Existential Nightmare is a fake ZX Spectrum game first showcased on Ashen's web series for BBC, Ashen's Tech Dump. The game stars a character named Vinnie Vol who is stuck in a room and has an existential crisis after the player couldn't find a way out. Eventually, Vinnie goes down on his knees and pulls a gun out, proceeding to shoot himself, committing suicide. The game then ends with the message saying, "Your fault." A while later, someone has made a game of this eventually. Sewer Rave. Sewer Rave is a weird, randomized exploration game released in 2019 by Autumn Rain, where you explore a rat-infested sewer during a rave. In this game, you explore through sewer labyrinths in search of games, secret items, and cool stuff really. And the games kind of remind me of WarioWare. You can also talk to Le Funny Cats, different kinds of rats with their own personalities. Quiet Manor. As the game title suggests, Quiet Manor is a PS1 horror-like game by Ivan Zanotti, the same creator who made I'm Scared in 2020. This game takes place at a manor. You navigate through empty hallways as you figure out the mystery behind this building. You grab items on the way, some doors being locked, while some faint voices can be heard from them. Something doesn't feel right, as if something is following you, until you find out who it is. Juice Galaxy. Juice Galaxy by Fish Licka and released in 2020 is a game where you traverse the galaxy of Juice. It's an unusual third-person adventure game where the combat and movement is physics-based. Killing your enemies gives the player juice in order to upgrade your stats such as health or health regen. You do this by exploring the world and find challenges or fight bosses along the way. Juice Galaxy may still be in development, but it is a nice yet bizarre game to play. The Tomatoes Are Okay. A short indie horror game by Dan Sanderson where it lets you take on the role of an unnamed character that just wants to make sure their tomatoes are okay. You navigate the environment to advance, but something is wrong here. The uncertainty grows on you with the low poly graphics and the CRT effect. It is the trophy, your dead pig, your mother getting mad at you because you entered her room. The questions will never be fulfilled, but you know that your tomatoes are okay. Super Bernie World. Apparently somebody went out of their way to make a Super Mario Bros. Clone called Super Bernie World based on the presidential run of 2020, I guess. You play as Bernie Sanders, a member of the Democratic Party, and you go to each state to collect votes and get power-ups a la Super Mario Bros. While taking down Republicans such as Ted Cruz. I suppose this game is a way to encourage Americans to go out and vote for the next president. Spoiler alert, Biden won. This is a fun little game to kill some time off. If you have the time, that is. Sosig by Moors is a little fun yet short 3D platformer game released in 2020 where you play as a sausage or Sosig, and you must restore color to each level you go into. You have your standard jump and dive, but the interesting is that you get to have a spin after a jump, stopping your momentum and get in place. Since this short platform game isn't easy, the goal of this game is to restore colors by getting ketchup, relish, or mustard, which makes platforms appear whether they're rotating, stationary, or disappearing platforms whenever you jump. And to proceed to the next level, you get into a hot dog bun. Pretty funny considering you play as a hot dog thing, like a sausage. The actual platforming of this game is very slippery and precise, especially when you dive onto a solid surface. The momentum and friction can really screw you over, but the spin jump really makes up for it, giving you time and carefully land. Kinda like those levels from Super Mario Sunshine or the Rift levels from A Hat in Time. Really fun game. Ultra Kill. Ultra Kill is an early access, fast-paced, ultra-violent old-school FPS. Holy shit, that mixes classic shooters such as Quake, modern games like Doom 2016, and action games like Devil May Cry. The premise of this game is mankind has gone extinct and the beings, known as machines, are left on Earth, craving for blood. However, blood is becoming scarce, and the machines are competing with each other to the depths of hell for more. The features of this game are fast-paced gameplay, combos to build up to get points that can be used on weapons, etc, etc. Go into the game with reckless shooting and movement abilities after avoiding attacks from the dead, demons, and other machines, and levels that are inspired by Dante's Inferno. Luna Game. Luna Game is a series of games starting with the release of Luna in 2011 that became popular during the peak of the creepypasta days. Usually when you play any of these games, you are greeted with jump scares and riddled with creepy text, even creating text files onto your desktop. Each game comes with a different pony ranging from Luna or Pinkie Pie. These games can come off as tame to today's standards. They hold a lot of lore and Easter eggs for you to uncover. Mondo Medicals. Mondo Medicals is part of a game collection by Cactus, the same dude who made the Hotline Miami games. Mondo Medicals can be considered as a bizarre game, where you help these beings find a cure for cancer, and traverse in levels where you figure out the puzzles/riddles in them. After completing each level, you are then greeted by this individual who talks about their life, about their dad getting cancer. Oh, holy shit. This is a weird game. If you're interested in playing some of the games that Mondo Medicals came from, I provided a link to them in the description below. Shiso Mythos. Shiso Mythos is a series of point-and-click adventure games developed by Ben Croshaw in the year of 2003, starting with 5 Days a Stranger, followed by its sequels 7 Days a Skeptic in 2004, Trilby's Notes in 2006, and the final game 6 Days a Sacrifice, each having its own storyline. 5 Days a Stranger lets you take a role of a cat burglar. Trilby comes to the Degore Manor, requested by an associate, after the last homeowner has died and left their belongings up for grabs. 7 Days a Skeptic is the second game to be released, and the story takes place 400 years after the events of 5 Days a Stranger. It stars a psychiatrist, Jonathan Somerset, and 5 other crew members in a spaceship, and they face events of a being that haunted the characters of 5 Days a Stranger. Trilby's Notes is a direct sequel to 5 Days a Stranger, and the third game in the series. The game follows Trilby once again after his time at the Degore Manor, this time investigating an idol that has stirred up something at an antiques fair in the Clanborin Hotel. Trilby's Notes takes a different approach in terms of gameplay, where the player has to use a text parser, similar to interactive text adventure games and old Sierra games. And lastly, 6 Days a Sacrifice is the fourth and final game in the series, taking place in 5 Days a Stranger and 7 Days a Skeptic. The story involves 3 characters trapped in an underground complex owned by the Order of Blessed Agonies and their attempt to escape from there. Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower is a 2D platformer inspired by the Wario Land games and Earthworm Jim. The game consists of insane hand-drawn animation and upbeat yet surreal music. You play as the deranged pizza man, Pepito Spaghetti, who has many abilities that will aid him throughout his adventures, such as charging, jumping to great heights and dashing. You can also get additional power-ups within the levels, like a shiny knight armor. The game itself is crazy depending on how you play it, smashing through blocks, finding secrets by bashing your head through walls, pizza toppings, and pizza collectibles. The levels themselves have traps all over, set up by Pizza Face and his henchmen, making it harder for the player to progress, including a being who goes by the name of The Noise. If you really like pizza and enjoy eating a slice, Pizza Tower is the way to go. A true Western romance. A true Western romance is truly a romance. A narrative experimental game by Magic Redo. You play as a gun dealer and you explore in a Western world. I don't really know how to describe this game, so I'll just show you some footage to see it for yourself. You know, like I said, this is truly a Western romance. You can't get this anywhere else.
Together in the same one, mind you. Just 3 more days until the sun rises completely. Till then, the bags all remain tied up. An unrelenting conglomerate of club bouncers who really have a knack for sniffing out a cowboy among a sea of commoners.
Funny Pizza Land. This is a weird case because supposedly this game was released in 2002, but it was really released in 2011. But the document that the creator of this iceberg sent me is fake, so you know, there's that. I think what this game is going for is the creepy early 2000s aesthetic. Funny Pizza Land is a game made with 3D Game Studio by Roman. The game starts with a cutscene starring a bizarre humanoid individual who can be seen crying in their home, then laughs and looks at the piggy bank, and proceeds to smash it for some reason. Later on, they walk up to a piece of paper for a reward of $1,000 in finding the global media monster. After that, you're free to explore to your heart's content. What I can describe the world of Funny Pizza Land is just plain weird. This is something the creator of Rat Boy Genius would make. You go to places and talk to people, getting more information about this global media monster. So much surreal scenery can be seen around your surroundings as you venture into Funny Pizza Land. Needless to say, this one's weird, but not fucked up where the game actually has a plot to go with. Plus, it's pretty artistic if you look at it that way. The Cat Lady. The Cat Lady is a dark adventure game by Harvester, published in 2012. A woman, Susan Ashworth, a lonely 40-year-old on the verge of suicide. One day she eventually finds 5 strangers who will forever change everything. The game is a suspenseful, psychological horror featuring stylized art which will make you feel uncomfortable, with the addition of its atmospheric soundtrack composed by Warmer, Faya, and Tears of Mars. Sludge Life. Developed by Terry Velman and Desion and released in 2020. Sludge Life is a first-person game where you venture into this town filled with people who seem on edge. The decrepit city polluted to the T. You, the ghost, must go out there and make it into the graffiti elites as you interact with objects while fighting evil corporations, claiming the city as your own. A king even, or you take it down to hell. Vandalize property from the comfort of your computer, browse through apps, and download them onto Ghost's laptop, and play games within the video game. Take pictures of the putrid environment you're in, and meet weird people along the way. The Wizard's Labyrinth. In this narrative platform game by Brainjar, you play as David, a sorcerer who is trapped in the deep and deadliest part of the Wizard's Labyrinth. David must escape from there with any means possible with the help of his magic, which can be upgraded. 6 areas to explore and fighting your way through bosses. The game is an extension of The Sorcerer and the Dawn, a novel by Josh Petty. Delver. Delver is a first-person roguelike dungeon crawler, Priority Interrupt, and released in 2018. You explore dungeon after dungeon in search of the Ythidian Orb. The task may not be easy, so you equip yourself with weapons and fight off monsters and bandits. The game itself has beautiful handcrafted sprites, while the game itself is very dark, so exploring is highly advised with a torch in hand. Post Void. Post Void takes the early design of first-person shooters and turns it up to hyper speed that will make your eyes bleed. Literally. Developed by YCJY Games and released in 2020, the game is a fast-paced psychedelic first-person shooter dungeon crawler, except it has a time limit within each level. The idol, the thing that's in your hand, acting as your health and timer at the same time. Shoot some bad guys along the way to gain some juice, I guess. However, if you do get hurt, the idol reduces, alongside time too. Once you get to the end of the level, you choose an upgrade, helping you along the way in the next level. The game tests you on your movement and aim as you shoot your way to get a high score, or try again according to the Steam page. Night of the Nun. Taking inspiration from horror PS1 titles, Night of the Nun by Puppet Combo is about a game where a letter was sent to you from an unknown source, your daughter who has fallen victim to an illness at her boarding school. While you drive there, a storm has started and you've been stopped at a roadblock, forcing you to walk there by foot through the woods. That's when the nightmare begins. After taking your first step into a lone house in the middle of the woods, you know where this is going. The game is a horror version of hide and seek with a psychopathic nun. Explore, find items to solve puzzles, and find a way to escape from the reigns of the nun, through multiple endings and secrets to find. Night of the Nun is the many games that Puppet Combo developed and has made other games similar to this one. If you're interested, I'll link an itch page where their games can be purchased. Talented dude. Velorin, or Velorin. I'm gonna stick with Velorin. Velorin is a voxel, open source, open world RPG game, and the first thing that comes to mind is this Cube World? Is it? I once saw my friend play Cube World one time, and it kinda looks like Velorin took inspiration from that game. Right now it's in development and you can play for free. All you can do at the moment is explore, visit towns, go to dungeons, and you know, all that jazz. From the first few minutes I play Velorin, it's promising and has the potential to become this massive multiplayer game where you and your friends can play and explore and do whatever, but at the moment it's just your average open world voxel RPG game, and I just hope it doesn't flop like Cube World did. Tower of Heaven. Tower of Heaven is about a game where the player takes control of Id, who climbs up the Tower of Heaven, no less. And over time a voice from above, God, talks to Id, getting angry each time Id gets further as he climbs up the tower. God then gives Id the Book of Laws, implementing laws for Id to follow. If he fails to do so, he dies. Tower of Heaven was developed by Justin Stander and released on August 13, 2009 using GameMaker, followed by a flash release in 2010. Momodora. Momodora is a series of games by Bomb Service, where you play as different characters, utilizing magic maple leaves as weapons to fight against monsters. The game I played in the series was Momodora 4 Reverie Under the Moonlight, very much like the second and third in the series, with backtracking and branching paths for the player to partake in. Kenshi. I already made a video about Kenshi a few months ago. Go watch that video and come back to this part of the video. But I'll still explain it to you guys in short of what the game is about. Kenshi is an open world role-playing game developed by Lo-Fi Games and first released in March 20th, 2013 as an early access game, but got its full release on December 6, 2018. The game focuses on the expansive world with sandbox elements, no story to follow, as you are free to do whatever the hell you want by becoming a merchant or building a small settlement. Kenshi is not forgiving since you have to face permadeath and the likes. This game, I fully recommend buying Kenshi. It's a fun ass game. Okay, so this is my favorite entry in the iceberg, and that is called Guppy's Quest. Guppy's Quest is a game being developed by Octopus 58. However, it is on hiatus since he's focusing on MiOS, an OS-like game still in the works since 2018. Guppy's Quest is a fast-paced platformer where you play as either Guppy or Guntapper to save SP and its creatures from a very dark force. The game is currently being rebuilt from the ground up with Unity instead of using Java due to technical limitations. We don't know when Guppy's Quest will resume development at the moment. Super Gear Quest, I guess. Super Gear Quest, a Metroidvania game made by Felix Blobdev, or Blob Games. and it was released on May 5th, 2020. You play as an android called Starter, who wakes up in a strange, unknown world after a war. After being offline for decades, it turns out that the world is ending and he has to save it from happening. Super Gear Quest features a large world for you to explore and items for you to get throughout. Not only do you play as Starter, but you play as duo M01 and F01. You also get to meet many characters in your adventures too, such as Pauline and the antagonist Alvis. Super Gear Quest is a fun game to play, and I encourage you to support Felix's other works. Kinit or Nit? Nit it is then. Nit is a 2D Metroidvania game with elements of arcade platformers by Green Hill Games and Niflas, and released worldwide on December 18th, 2012. Nit features non-linear gameplay, 2 playable characters, multiple endings, and a lot of side quests and secrets to uncover. Lisa the Painful, one of my favorite games of all time. Period. Lisa is an RPG maker game by Dingaling or Austin Jorgensen and released on December 15th, 2014. You play as a broken man named Brad Armstrong, who goes on a journey to get his daughter back, Buddy, in a barren, womanless wasteland filled with perverts and men out for blood. Yeah, not a single woman can be seen throughout the game. This game takes a different approach to RPGs, being a side-scroller rather than a top-down. The game consists of unique mechanics never seen in any RPG game ever, and a lot of party members to recruit each with their movesets and the likes. This game is depressing in the story department. It'll piss on you and make you feel bad about it. That's how good the game is, yet very disturbing in some parts of the game. Meander Forth. Meander Forth is a platform game by Whisker Midi about an otter named Garrett who must come to terms with his own place in a world filled with strange, dangerous magic called Candace. The game's been in development hell for several years, facing many reboots, reimaginings, and engine changes, though the final game is slowly but surely nearing completion. Gobble Goes. From the genius mind who developed Funny Pizza Land, Gobble Goes is a spiritual successor to Funny Pizza Land. It has a completely different gameplay than Funny Pizza Land's exploration aspect. Instead, it's a drag and drop puzzle adventure game featuring a soundtrack with a nice blend of synth and urban funk. Crypt Worlds. This is yet another surreal game, but it's the most interesting one so far on this iceberg, made by Sakaido Marionette and released in 2013. Crypt Worlds is a bizarre adventure slash Metroidvania, okay, where the humor can be random at times, and you can also piss too. It takes the idea of humanity and turns it into this abstract art piece with no meaning whatsoever. What is the purpose of this game? What is my goal? From what I played 7 years ago, I couldn't really put my finger on it since there's so much weirdness going on in this game. But it's just a video game, right? Electric Highways. Electric Highways is a short exploration game by Zykov Eddie in 2016. This game takes place in the year of 2072, where virtual reality has become very popular amongst people, allowing them to sink into the world of virtual web while experiencing isolation in real life. A VR engineer who just completed their own VR project, decides to go to the web before uploading it to there, delving into his own surreal world. The game is all about experience and exploring each world you visit, giving you a certain type of emotion from the music, visuals, and 3D abstract objects. Each level you go through has its own theme. Some of it can make you feel calm, but on one particular level will make you feel nervous. The game itself was really fun to play, seeing all of these surreal environments you go through, each with your synthetic music to go with. Reminds me of LSD, Dream Emulator. But the game actually has an end to it. There's no possible way to pronounce this, so I'm just gonna call this E. E is a Metroidvania or Catroidvania where the main character named E, a one-eyed cat leaving his comfort zone, developed by Yukon W for a game jam, Ludrum Dare 38. The game takes on the theme of a small world. So that's why the game just feels small, and the cat looks small. Everything's small in this game. As the player progresses through the game, it gets bigger, allowing them to discover more. As for the game, you explore the deep underground and gain visions to other dimensions. Smile. Smile is a simple 3D maze game by Dachifob. The game places you in a maze, and the main objective is getting away from Smile. Or Smiley, a scary happy round thing. The droning music plays in the background as you're navigating through the maze. There are some puzzles slash obstacles you have to get through, so there's that. This is a nice little horror game if you have the afternoon to spend. Orange County. Orange County is another small horror indie game, but this time with a skateboard. You ride on a skateboard. Made in a collaborative effort, Orange County lets you play as someone exploring the city, Orange County. You'll need to escape from the horrors of said county with the help of your board. Tumiki Fighters. Tumiki Fighters is a shmup game made by Budcat Creations using simple polygon graphics. The only catch is you can attach yourself to fallen ships or parts of a ship acting as a shield. Some of the parts you pick up, mainly from big ships, shoot projectiles different from yours. Goblet Grotto. Goblet Grotto, created by the Catamites, same dev who made Space Funeral, is an action-adventure game which lets you play as a Toad Knight Swampy, embarking on a quest to find valuable goblets found throughout the strange grotto. The game has a huge open world for you to explore, including interesting mechanics such as a depression/hunger meter. The gameplay itself is simple, the player character being limited to a single attack, the ability to ask questions, and the game even lacks a shop system, map, or even inventory. Yet the game opens a big and bizarre world for you to explore, making it memorable. Urisu Syndrome. Urisu Syndrome is a physics puzzle game developed by that name, a Japanese individual, starring a bunny girl named Irisu Kyoko. The gameplay of this involves various colored falling shapes, sort of like Tetris. Shoot white and gray blocks directly at the colored blocks to collide them to the other blocks of the same color. However, each block that falls and doesn't disappear inflicts damage to your health bar. You can gain back health by getting more points. From what I heard, this game breaks the fourth wall in a very interesting way. 0_Abyssal Somewhere. This is a game by No Noise, a game taking place in a dead world, a broken monochromatic realm where everything seems to be dead. You play as some sort of knight, venturing through this dark abyssal place. No recollection of anything. You kinda just stroll in this place with no objective or goal. I think of this game as an emotional mood piece rather than a narrative one. And really, this kinda reminds me of Dark Souls in a way, where that game's world is in ruins. Everything is out to get you, but this is a lot more different than Dark Souls. Everything in this game is soulless, and you're dead in it. Pucker in the Woods. This game is only for male gamers. Sorry girl gamers, buzz off. Anyways, Pucker in the Woods by GZ Storm and Laz Rule. This game is about a group of young people going to the woods to investigate a disappearance. The storyline of this game is about Ryokaze and Hiroshi on their last day at their school, St. Pucker High, where they're trying to be on their best behavior to make a passing grade. However, they failed and they received 20 consecutive years. During recess, they heard the news of the mysterious disappearance of Jin, the older brother of a student, Shigeru. To impress their teen idol, Sakura, Ryokaze and Hiroshi formed a party and venture off to the sinister forest where Jin was last seen. Not everything went to plan and now they are all trapped in an unfamiliar land, hopeless to find a way out. This is a horrible visual novel where you make choices that influence the plot and the characters and uncover the secrets of the student at St. Pucker High. I almost said fucker. Xenophobia. Now we're entering a bit of not safe for work territory here, so if you're uncomfortable of seeing gore or little girls getting decapitated and shit like that, skip to this timeline. If not, then we can move on. Xenophobia is a canned game. It's supposed to be the sequel to the infamous Guru game Demonophobia. Created by a user under the alias 237, the game has 2 demos, the first being released in 2008 and the second released in late 2009. So October 2008 first demo and second demo released in December 2009. The game's progress was stopped by the creator because the first game, Demonophobia, received a lot of backlash. You probably know why, for obvious reasons. As for the story, the description follows. 3 years ago, Seiichiro Towada, a scientist who led a certain project under the codename Xeno, committed suicide, but he left a daughter, Hasuka Towada. The girl had a rather weird personality, but what was even stranger was her extraordinary high intelligence. Tests showed that her IQ was 190 points, and once this girl has been kidnapped, members of the local religious organization called Mother kidnapped the girl and drove her to an unknown destination. Then we see Hatsuka in some dark room, and there is a pistol on the floor next to her. She doesn't remember how she got here. And that's the story. Oops. Orneric Gardens. Like all weird Unity games, we have this game by Lilith. You venture through, I'm assuming, the underground, and you go to places really, like this city environment where you bump into these blocks that makes human sounds. Another place you go to is an ordinary looking house that has the number 13 on the door. It's hell. It's literally hell. And you go to a video store and play different tapes that show on the TV. You can go to the surface where you can surf to various islands to explore. You know, not a lot to explain for this game, but, you know, give it a try if you have the chance. Dry Path. After a horrific crash of your airship, you are the only survivor in a mysterious desert. The path is walkable but yet dry, as in there's no water. Dry Path is a 2D/3D exploration game by Pixel Boy, and you play as a character who traverses through this dry land. With little source of water, there is a HUD that indicates your water meter. If you run out, you pass out. To avoid this, you can find small sources of water throughout the land, such as cactus or even a water tank, if you're lucky enough. The game sports nice graphics and a relaxing soundtrack for you to listen while you wander around in Dry Path. February. February is a RPG 2003 game, and it is made by a team of people. I have 5hat, Everything's Taken, Firecat FG, Gus, Sergio, Kanaga, Chrissy Teets, and Clyde Marshall. Similar to Yuminiki, you teleport to a calendar into the month of February. As the title of this game suggests, you go to surreal environments and encounter minigames made by different people in the team, like spreading butter on a piece of toast or live life for a minute. Very bizarre game. Windowsill. Made in 2009 by Vector Park, Windowsill is a puzzle game where you guide a toy car through 10 worlds, each with different puzzles to solve. Everything is interactive in said levels, which the player has to navigate and experiment with each object, such as light switches, piles of leaves, clocks, a building that grows legs when spun, and a box that grows hair when touched in order to find a hidden cube to advance to the next level. Meow. Meow is a small exploration game by Tak, and it stars a lone cat on an island. The gameplay is interesting yet not overly, complicated, considering this is an exploration game with no objectives and no hand-holding. As a cat, you can't really swim long enough as seen here with the decreasing box view. When it fully shrinks, the game sends you back to the last island you've been. Don't let the game fool you, because the game's content is jam-packed with content and has 2 endings. Lost Town. Lost Town was made by the same person who made Orneric Gardens. Similar to that game, you play as a small girl who wanders in the lost ruins and makes friends with ghosts along the way, eventually commencing a ritual to summon a shadowy deity, and also ride trains. The Fantastic Game. Popularized by Vinny Vinesauce, the fantastic game created by Fantastic Kinnear, released in 2012, is a 3D exploration game created with the Unity engine, and is considered to be the first game in the egg-like genre, first stated by Vinny, due to its weirdness contained within the game. As for the game, the fantastic game, the player's objective is to find and get dollars, similar to the likes of stars from Super Mario 64. These dollars are required to unlock areas you couldn't access, leading to new locations and worlds. The total dollars you must collect are 16, rewarding you for solving platforming sections at the end of long hallways or through a hidden teleporter. Later, Fantastic Kinnear released an update for the game titled Fantastic 1 Fun. Soon after that, the creator abandoned the game since it hasn't been updated for a long time, despite the fact at the end of the game he mentions there will be a Fantastic 2.0. Ghoul's Forest. Ghoul's Forest is a collection of WADs for Doom created by Cutman Mike, a horror single-player / co-op game, or mod. The series offers a different experience than Doom, either alone or with friends. A battle with a huge scary monster in an open area. This spawned a lot of WADs, similar to Ghoul's Forest, given the name Ghoul WADs. The series got 2 sequels and a spin-off called Ghouls vs. Humans. The game itself is mainly killing the monster and unlocking an exit to escape, equipped with weapons with very low ammo at your disposal. With the monster at hand, it is very fast, so killing it will be difficult to do considering the low ammo you have. The game was intended to be a joke at first, a simple scare 'em type game, but it began to gain popularity over time after it was uploaded to IndieGames. Poopy's World, or Wolf Poopy. Poopy's World is a platform game based on a webcomic based on Wolf Poopy. The game itself was made by Sylvie, who also made other games, Cat Planet being the most popular one. Ode to a Moon is a psychotronic adventure, following the mysterious aftermath of a grim harvest festival gone horribly wrong, in development by Color Fiction. Ode to a Moon is a first-person cosmic horror game. You play as a photojournalist tasked to cover a fall festival in a rural town far away during a centennial lunar eclipse. With your camera in hand, you set off to a settlement only to discover the aftermath of a town's descent to madness. Inspired by real events, and the stories behind it are stranger than fiction. Auto Afterlife. This is a very special game. Auto Afterlife. A game made by a person who constantly changes their name, considering they keep changing their fucking names, so, I can't really find who made this game. Anyways, the game is considered a weird existential horror car dating sim. A dating sim where you turn into cars and bang. I'm not joking, that's the premise of the fucking game. As funny as it sounds, it's not. It follows an artist who lives in a world where everyone turned into a car, and thus your adventure begins as a car. The game consists of open world driving, car combat, and existential pondering and dating. Alongside with hideous visuals to go with, this game is fucking ugly, Christ. I'm sorry, but I can't take this game seriously. Nightmare Puppeteer. Nightmare Puppeteer by Imagination Rabbit, released in 2020, is a game that lets you make animations, similar to 3D Movie Maker but with a nightmarish take on it. You can make walking penises as seen on some of the trailers. The game lets you use a large amount of stuff you can make an animation with, from actors, scenery, effects, lots of features you can toy around with. Remember Places. Remember Places is a first-person psychological game by Bryce Butcher, taking place in a locked room with only a computer by your side, keeping yourself sane most of the time as you depend on an AI and going to places that you remember. Talking to them reassures you and comforts you in a way. Then things take a turn when reality starts to get shaky. Is the world inside the computer real or not? We may never know, considering you are stuck with an AI the whole time. Barkley, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. Barkley, Shut Up and Jam Gaiden is considered canon to Space Jam. Yes, that movie featuring Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny teaming up in a game of basketball. against the Monstars. Jokes aside, the game is a freeware RPG game developed by Tales of Games Studios and released in an ancient time of January 22nd, 2008. You play as Charles Barkley, a basketball player who performed the Chaos Dunk in 2041, killing most of the people in attendance, making basketball outlawed after 12 years, making many basketball players hunted and killed. This game takes place in post-cyberpocalyptic New York. Charles and his cohorts must run away from the B-ball removal department led by Michael Jordan. Despite its shitpost vibe, I think Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden is a lot to take in terms of storytelling, because when I first played this game, I was really astounded. You know, this game it's a completely different experience from your other JRPG games, so give this a shot if you have the chance. Carol Blaster, made by the same developer who made Cave Story, Pixel. Carol Blaster is a small platformer where you take control of a frog named Carol who has to go fix all of the teleporters in levels you traverse in. Compared to Cave Story, this is a very linear game with upgrades you can buy with the coins you collect along the way and fight enemies. The graphics, controls, and music are all made by Pixel himself, which feels and looks like Cave Story, but a lot different. Space Funeral. Space Funeral, a game by the Catamites, and released onto Game Jolt on September 17, 2010. You play as Philip, a sad boy who embarks on a journey in search for the City of Forms, alongside Leghorse, who accompanies Philip throughout the game. The game itself is a parody of horror and RPG genres, with its crude art style and the constant use of blood in the dialogue. The gameplay is a typical 2D turn-based RPG, but yet has a unique style to it to make itself stand out than other indie RPGs at the time. Cat Mario. Cat Mario is a hard version of Super Mario Bros., and instead of playing as Mario, you play as a cat. The first level itself is basically the same, but don't be fooled. Once you take one step, you die. Similar to I Wanna Be the Guy, but more subtle than ever. Make the wrong jump, you die. You hit the wrong block, you die. Anywhere you go, something out there will make you die. Onero. Onero by Fender is a permanent prototype first-person adventure-like game. Player traverses through a surreal and sometimes disquieting dream world. The goal of this game is to escape back to reality by solving puzzles, exploring, and occasionally fighting your way in the dream. Pro Office Calculator. Just your average calculator app by Rob Ginman. But what makes this app, or game, special is that it is a ARG game where you put in random combinations of numbers to make something appear, like a game or something. The Stuff Dreams Are Made Of. This game is yet another 3D exploration game by Rubik's Cube. You explore Onoroi, an island of dreams, alongside neuropsychiatrist Dr. Octavius Statterfield. As you walk around in this land of dreams, he will narrate everything you see, explaining the meaning of each object you come across, giving his insight and philosophy of what we dream of. Johnny. Johnny is part of a series of games developed by Kimberly Cubis, who has created over 150 games using GameMaker. His games are considered crude, but he just loves making them and constantly makes them at a fast rate. He even created a cult following for his creations, especially for his Johnny series and how the rest of his games were weird and absurd even. And unfortunately, took his own life in May 2014, so rest in peace, bud. As for Johnny, it is a series of platformers starring a unique character by the name of, Johnny, and fights off monsters and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, the first game gave me the impression that it's pretty bad, but in a very charming way. I am the type of person who likes shitty things but with a certain vibe to them, whether it's on purpose or artistic in a way. Johnny has that early 2000s game dev charm to it. Like many games like, Johnny, I do appreciate its existence, just like I was back in 2009 when I first created my first game, IndieAnjelo Land, and I did not have any experience with coding or anything like that. There's going to be people who expect professionalism and who condemn this sort of, style. Gatekeeping is what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's pretty hypocritical of me to say that, because I used to do like fucking art video of me criticizing kids' art. Like, don't let anybody stop you from what makes you happy. And this is why Johnny is a very interesting entry in this iceberg. If I were to find out about his works early on, I would be a fan as well. 14/?. This is a experimental abstract RPG maker game, similar to Yume Nikki. You go to either doorways on the left or right, and each time you go through them, the room changes whenever you enter. Rooms can vary from very trippy or really surreal. Sometimes you can interact with some of the objects in said rooms. I am actually, quite impressed of how much the dev created here with how limited RPG Maker is. Like this game from any other RPG Maker game I've ever played, this one is the weirdest of all of them. Plus I needed to go through a guide to make this game work because the creator didn't want any attention, like the game dev. And they made this game as obscure and mysterious as possible. Glumbuster. As the game states, take a mind-bending trip through a mysterious, haunting alternate reality. Use your newly discovered magic, wits, and curiosity to cleanse the world of Glum and find a way back to your family. Experience the wonder of this indie cult classic. The following features of this game consist: hauntingly beautiful pixel art graphics, gorgeous immersive music and sound effects, 5 huge areas to explore, packed with mind-bending action/platforming puzzles, loads of secrets to discover, unique play mechanisms to learn and master, and lastly, an unforgettable experience that sticks with you after you play. So yeah, that's Glumbuster for you. Poxy. For some reason I can't seem to download the game from the website, and some of the images from said website are now gone. Some of them are on Google Images, so I'll be showing them, now. As for the actual game, Poxy, it was made by the username Lachi Dazdarian, using the free basic engine, and it is their first game ever to be created. Poxy is a 2D action game combining elements of Pac-Man and platforming. Basically a Pac-Man platformer, if you really think about it. It features over 6 stages in vertical scrolling fashion, 256 colors graphic, and sound blaster sound effects and music. If I'm going to be honest, I really want to play this game, to see what it's like. So if any of you have a copy or have some sort of access to it, just comment down below. Kill Dad. Jesus, that's kind of morbid. Alright. A very small game made by this person for the SW Jam Winter of 2013. The premise of this game is to figure out a way to get your dad to stop accidentally running you over. Nothing too complicated really, just trying to survive and finding out how not to be killed by your dad. Hence the title of this game, Kill Dad. Hyperpixel 10,000. This is a minuscule pixelated Metroidvania where you play as a small pixel, and each screen is filled with a level, and it's up to you to explore and get abilities in order to advance to other areas you couldn't reach before. It's like your, average Metroidvania but in a very small scale, so there's that. I want to blow my brains out. I mean, I can relate. As the title implies, this game deals with mental health, depression, suicidal tendencies, and the likes. Hell, even a link to this game has suicide in it. Anyways, the first part of this game is to click on the individual's heart. It makes the bone cracking sound effect. After a few times you get a message about something to do with self-worth most of the time, and after that you are then transported in a 3D plane where you walk around and search for these orbs to reveal a message saying everything is meaningless. I mean, I can agree with that nonetheless, you know. If you haven't noticed, this is a very, very dark horror game, so yeah. It says a lot just by reading the fucking title of this game alone. Danger Zone. First started as a mod for Minecraft 1.12.2 called Ore Spawn. It features a brand new experience, such as new dimensions, dungeons, mobs, items, and so much more. You can even take down Mobzilla. Ore Spawn offers a lot of things for you to do than the vanilla game, until it came to a stop due to it being very ambitious for Minecraft, so to speak. So they decided to make a game based on Ore Spawn and called it Danger Zone by They Call Me Danger and Megan Lorraine. The game aims to have the same experience like Ore Spawn did, and as they develop this game, they usually update their audience with posts on their new website, thedangerzone.com. You can even go there right now to check out their stuff. Misadventures of Crowley Flatcheeks. This game by Dashing Gashes is a game made for the Ludum Dare 42 Jam with the theme of running out of space. You play as Crowley, you go on an adventure and meet folks and do stuff for them. While doing that, you go on a search for a new place to call home in this world. A world that is slowly, but surely, crumbling. The Catacombs of Solaris. I would like to call this Art the Game by Ian McLarty. This game feels like an art project, where you go to different rooms in the catacombs. The premise of this game is simple. You find your favorite abstract room. That's it, that's the game. Cacti's Odyssey. Now I'm gonna go off script. I'm not gonna be reading the fucking description I wrote here because I couldn't find anything on this game. And on the itch page itself, like, it gave me like a 404 message, and there's no other way to download this game anywhere else. And when I put Cacti's, Odyssey in this fucking search bar, it would give me like books with the same name on Amazon and like Mario Odyssey related stuff. So if any of you out there know about this game, or at least knows what I'm talking about, just please let me know. Join my Discord server. Yeah, don't forget to join my Discord server. So anyways, I can't really say much about this game since I guess it's lost media at this point, but eventually it will be found. I'm sure of it. Bunny Must Die by Paltine Dispositive is a platform Metroidvania game where you play as a bunny character named, you guessed it, Bunny, who has to escape the Devil's Labyrinth and defeat the 7 devils. Get it? Just like the 7 deadly sins? That's pretty clever, haha. At the time of recording, the game is no longer available on Steam by the request of the publisher, Rockin' Android, since July 31st, 2019. However, the game is still available on the PSN store, released as a remaster. Platform Racing 3. The platform racing games are made by the individual who goes by the name of Jigmin. These games were considered very popular back then, especially the first 2 on sites such as Congregate. Jigmin was working on the 3rd game under the deal for Sparksworks with a Z, which ultimately did not work out for the game, despite having new game mechanics and a fully fleshed out level editor, leading to Jigmin leaving the internet for reasons we probably don't know. Maybe like a personal life. Everybody has a life outside of the internet, right? As well for the game's servers and Sparkworks closing down around that time too. Platform Racing 2 and 3 hubs, these are the hub versions I think, are community projects meant to be kept preserved for people to play. Anyways, as for Platform Racing 3, it is a 2D multiplayer game empathizing platform racing. It contains a fleshed out, like I said, level editor and a lot of bugs. Hell Rising. Hell Rising is a web browser RPG text game where you navigate through a limited yet imaginative space by ticking off boxes to do something. I don't have nothing much to say because this game seems to be big, so search up Hell Rising and play it for yourself. Nephtilia, another game made by the same guy who developed 14/?. This is a better game than 14/?, because you get to explore environments this time instead of walking left or right to a room. Soup version 0.91. Soup by IndieAnjelo Works is a looking around simulator, according to the site. I say this is very much like LSD Dream Emulator. Actually, this could come off as a sequel to that in my opinion. Many Doors is a game by Sweeneasy, where you go to doors which transport you to different worlds, from an endless desert to an ancient cavern. In these worlds, you'll meet all sorts of weird characters, such as a dog, toucan thing, and a person working at a newspaper stand in the caverns. Pretty cool game considering it was made in Multimedia Fusion, a very early video game development tool before Unity, Game Maker Studios, or Unreal Engine. As for now, the game only contains 3 doors since Sweeneasy hasn't updated the game since 2016. Inume, or SmileGhost.mp3, is a parody horror game by an unknown user from the Japanese website Nico Nico, published in May of 2015. The game itself is an inside joke from the site mentioned before, Nico Nico, and the memes originating from the online Japanese community. Memes such as an adult video actor from that, or in English, A Midsummer Night's Lewd Dream. Fucking Christ. Smile Ghost is a meme within the Japanese community, referencing a user from a message board with a Smile Ghost profile picture who got made fun of and got upset because they misread Inmu as Inume, meaning lewd in Japanese. Now popularized by Vinesauce ever since Vinny played the game during his Spooktober Japanese horror stream on October 29th, 2017. Then eventually played a modded version of Inume where the game is replaced with his face. As for the gameplay itself, you're in a maze-like place with multiple floors, and your main objective is to find and collect Japanese katakana characters, and once they're all collected, the player has to go back to the starting area where a button must be pressed to get to the ending. Sounds simple enough. Station.exe. Now this is one of those scary virus games. Even the creator of the Iceberg suggested that I use a virtual machine, and you know, since I don't know how to set up a virtual machine properly, I instead watch a video of someone playing the game. It's a fairly short game where you walk around, I'm assuming a station, while being accompanied by ambient noise in the background, and eventually stumble upon a really scary face. I mean, it's nothing much, but there is information behind this game, like some sort of history. In a thread on 4chan, an anonymous found an extra disc in a CD case from a tech expo. The disc contained a game called Station made by someone using Blender. In one of the walls are coordinates to a real place in Russia, a building reminiscent to the one you see in the game.
Guys, now if you look here, there's coordinates on the building, and if you put the building or put the coordinates into Google whatever, you actually get this place. It's a real place in Russia, some place I think called like the Devil's Gold Mine. Kind of look familiar? Kind of, you know, building, a dock, a white face. This is the building based on the game, of course. I hate that game now. I didn't expect them to be there. Well, thank you guys for watching. This has been nifty. Station.exe.
The CD itself does not have any writing on it, making the CD pretty ominous. Data miners managed to dig into the game's code to a bunch of strange connections to /k and a password protected website. I'll put in links in the description if you'd like to look into it yourself. The Adventures of St. John Paul the Great. The game is now considered lost media since the download link for this game isn't working anymore. This game has 5 stages, starring St. John Paul, going through his life starting when he was young, and went with the name of Carol. This game is about a pope named St. John Paul who goes on adventures in becoming a priest during a Nazi occupation of his homeland. Not much if I'm going to be honest. Lomando. Lomando, or also known as Fancy Island, is an interactive horror/puzzle web browser game by Shizu. The game itself features jump scares, flashing imagery, and mentions of suicide. I haven't played this game myself, but I remember this particular mascot, from watching Mutaharu's video on it. Just be warned if you're ever gonna play this game. Bob's Game. This one is very big. Not only the guy who made Bob's Game, Peloni, the news of this game being in development became big, but the story itself is very intriguing. Development started all the way back in 2004 for the Nintendo DS. Peloni spent over 15,000 hours developing the game alone. The game was supposed to feature over 200 characters. Peloni wanted to acquire the SDK, also known as in short, the Software Development Kit, from Nintendo. After not answering him within 17 weeks, he then started a protest by locking himself in his room for 100 days until Nintendo decided, hey, let's give this guy the kit, you know. It became so bad that /V had to get his phone number to call the police on Peloni to see if he's okay, because being locked up in your own room for 100 days is kind of crazy. He then made a crowdfunding page for the puzzle minigame within Bob's Game and failed at the end. Then that puzzle game from Bob's Game was then released onto Steam for free. He has stated he's not stopping development for the actual Bob's Game, so we will see what's going to happen in the future. And I've heard about this project all the way back, I think 2012. I thought it looked very interesting, and I want this product, become a reality one day, but the ambition for Bob's Game is too much. But I would like to see it done one day. Scare Game. Same guy who developed Fantastic Game, where you're in an empty place with minimal structures. You hear a loud noise coming towards you, revealing itself as a horrifying image. The game then freezes, forcing you to exit out of it. Welcome to Paradise. This VR experience of this game is very special, let me tell you. Venture to the sex paradise, where a hot woman will be awaiting for your presence. Naked woman, in fact. Experience amazing moments on the tropical island in the middle of nowhere. Collect magical orbs to open a portal leading you to the sexy mermaid caves. Oh my god. In all seriousness, this game has a lot of broken mechanics from what I heard. So if you really want to play this game and spend $13 on it, as a meme, go for it. But if you really want to, buy this game and actually play it, don't buy it. This is a very shitty game, and it's up on Steam for $13. What? Anyways, next game. Ghost 94. I couldn't run this game on my computer, even turning my computer into Japanese mode to run it, but no luck. No luck at all. So the only thing I can show you is the trailer, and I'll be gathering bits and pieces from this article and, turning it into my own words in a way. So if you want to read up on the article, I'll be putting the link to it in the description. Anyways, Ghost 94 is a 3D stealth game taking place in a big post-apocalyptic dystopian Japanese city patrolled by ninjas and soldiers and heavily armed robots basically. And being stealthy is the most important thing to do in Ghost 94. Being spotted means all the enemies within the area you're in will gang up on you. Gotta say, this is a very interesting game. It looks so cool. Like, it looks like an old PS1 game, so I really want to try this game out. If any of you out there know how to make this game work on modern computers, like English computers, like Windows 10, let me know once again. House of Velez 2 or Part 2. Anyways, House of Velez Part 2 is a sequel to the first game of the same name, or DLC. I don't know, but mainly I'll be talking about the core game, House of Velez Part 1. This is a horror game using the mechanics of stealth/puzzle elements, emphasizing sneaking, running, and hiding instead of using combat. If you can't tell, this is a very gory game and not safe for work, and according to the original poster of this iceberg, this is a gore kink game disguised as a horror game. Yeah, I can see why now. As for the creator, Dark Room Games, they are currently working on a new game on the Unreal Engine, so I guess there's that to look forward to if you played this game previously. If you're interested, there will be a link leading to the creator's YouTube channel. I mean, I do not advise if you get, uncomfortable with women being, literally decapitated and like just like blood and shit. So yeah, just a bit of a fair warning on that. Auto-cannibalism. Auto-cannibalism starts you off with a young, I'm assuming a Native American boy who was asked by his father to search for food. Simple, right? Not really. You see, when you stumble upon the cave in the game, you find yourself a dead snake, right? Then you proceed to eat it, followed by you, the character, dying within the cave. Unless if you manage to survive getting out of the cave, your tribe will eat you because of how fat you've gotten, and that is auto-cannibalism. Honestly, how the fuck can you pronounce that title? I couldn't find any information on this game, but according to the OP, it was a atmospheric bitsy game with a 3D perspective. Nintendo Nightmare. I remember this gem of a game back on Yo-Yo Games Sandbox. That one game you'd always see on the front page of that site. You know what I'm fucking talking about. So the early days of game making using the tool at the time, Game Maker 6 or 7, not too sure, but this one is truly bizarre, and I am thankful that this is an entry in the iceberg. Nintendo Nightmare is a 3D platformer clearly made by a kid, and you play as Mario and Link venturing through various levels such as a court case with Phoenix Wright, or fight Luigi in the form as Darth Vader at the Death Star. This is truly a unique experience, and I urge all of you to play this game. It should be up somewhere on the internet. Just search up Nintendo Nightmare and it should be up there somewhere on the internet. League of Scumbags. League of Scumbags is a very, I guess, special type of game, using not only sprites but different forms of art such as clay-like environments. This game plays like your typical RPG game, but the interesting part of this game is how battles work, like where you encounter an enemy and you usually go into like a turn-based thing, but this time it's a action platform gig going on where you shoot your enemies until they die. Gotta give credit. It's a interesting concept, especially for the RPG genre. A stair with no steps. It is what it is. A stair where you don't have steps to go up, only wall jumping up there. Wall jumping can be hard to do because you're constantly doing it without losing your rhythm in the wall jumping. What's up there? I don't know, but the only thing to do is to ascend. Taru Taru. Not much I can gather from this game, but I think it's a visual novel game made in RPG Maker 2000 with cute girls in it. Pasta Master. Pasta Master is a shooter-like game where you play as a man in a top hat that shoots beams. From what I'm assuming, you're defending yourself or the dish from onion octopuses, floating evil meatballs, and walking broccoli. The longer you survive, the game progresses to becoming harder, sending you stronger enemies. Excuse my French for this, but troisième personne du singulier. And with that, just show the game. The game speaks for itself. I don't know how to describe this fucking game, so here it is.
Stop! Go away.
Wizard's Garden. So you know what Homestuck is? You know the layout where you read the comic and you click to go to the next page? This is what Wizard's Garden is like, but it's interactive. You go to different rooms. Nothing much happens here except when you turn on the music, which will accompany you if you want. Demiurge. I don't want to risk playing this game on my computer, considering I've had so many problems with it lately. I mean, that was before I kind of fixed it, so... But still, I don't want to risk it. So, I'll just read the game's description. According to the OP, trying to run this game on your computer will get you a Trojan. So this is why I'm not risking playing this game. Anyways, you have done wrong. Redeem yourself. Have patience. Demiurge is a spiritual punishment simulator. You are stuck in a limbo dimension. However, there is a way out. Completing a series of redeeming tasks will please the Demiurge, and perhaps you will be released. The tasks are obtuse in nature. However, heed the pleased song of your god as it rises, and know the descending tones mean you struggle in vain. Gradient Addiction is like visiting a Starbucks in hand-drawn graphics. A weird exploration game by the user Milky Yan Ding Dong. I hope I said that right. And what you basically do is fly around as a half-robot guy with a backpack. There are numerous glitches and 22 unique locations to find through secret portals. Cool. Cool is an obnoxious shitpost game. Why did I say obnoxious? Because the game fucking starts up with an ear-raping sound loop. And the gameplay is lackluster too. All you do is aim and shoot at these black figures with long noses. That's it, that's the game. And I keep saying that's it, that's the game because there's not a lot to do in some of these games. Also, totally not cool if you ask me. I'm talking about the game itself, it's not cool. Mary Cake Flavored Christmas. Another web browser game where you explore through rooms of early 2000s internet culture. You click on things and see what they/it has to see. The Great Aussie City Adventure. From the description of the itch page, the nice young man really hates tall buildings and plain vapor trails, so you go to the city to tell everyone about why you hate those things. However, the people in the city drive like crazy, like an urban jungle. You take control of a car which is spinning around like crazy, and you run over a pregnant woman. But God forbid if you run over a damn dog. Ooh. Running over a pregnant woman? Pfft, that's no big deal, but running over a dog? Oh yeah, you're going to jail for that, man. You can't run over a dog. Anyways, it's one of those games. The game starts with a loud sound effect of a guy imitating the sound of a car engine, and your goal is to run over pregnant woman. I don't know if this is a shitpost game yet again. I mean, it looks like it, but am I supposed to take this seriously or not sure? You guys decided yourselves. Strawberry Cubes. Strawberry Cubes is a game made for Satan, literally. Developed by this person, I am not going to pronounce their name. A platformer which is very confusing to figure out, but makes a little bit of sense as you progress through the game. Every room you go to, you pick up seeds, and getting to rooms is like a memory game, since all rooms don't change at all. The game doesn't tell you what it is or what it's trying to be. So I included a link to a Reddit page that talks about this game, because as much as I appreciate this game's look and feel, it's very hard to make sense of it all together. Watching. Watching is a small game where your main objective of the game is to see an individual walk away until it turns back and runs up to you. If you press and hold the spacebar, the individual will stop and you can let it go if it turns around and walks away again. The developer of this game, Kanoguti, is an artist and musician, and they have made a number of games and applications over the time. Their website to their works will be in the description below if you're interested. Morimiya Middle School Shooting. Developed by a guru artist named Kata235, this game right here is based on an actual shooting. I don't know which one though when I tried searching for it, but that's what OP said in a doc. In Morimiya Middle School Shooting, you control a girl that shoots up her school until the police come in 5 minutes. At first glance, this is a very sensitive game, and I do not promote violence or even school shootings at all, and they are considered to be devastating tragedies. However, this is just a game and that's that. And really, media can shock audiences at the end of the day, especially dealing with heavy subjects such as school shootings. Punishment. As much as I really want to play Punishment, it requires me to run it in a Windows XP virtual machine, and I don't know how to set one up, so, therefore I can't really play this for now. Botulism, the same name as the illness caused by toxin produced by bacteria. This is a game lost in time. The OP couldn't find it, neither can I. But this helpful provocative blog post on Play This Thing mentions the game. The gameplay consists of floaty controls, shooting, and platforming, and that's pretty much it. And from reading this blog post by this particular person, I guess this individual doesn't really like this game a whole lot. World of freaking Goo. Honestly, I thought this game was a sequel to the World of Goo. Jokes aside, made by the Gaming Glaceon, re-uploaded onto GameJolt because all of their OG games were removed. But the page I'm showing you guys is re-uploaded and can be played now. Insert Coin Maze. Insert Coin Maze is a simple yet eerie take on the maze genre of games. You reach the exit of the maze and then nothing. No goal at all. Post recording of this, but there is a next level, and I didn't even know like the first time when I played this game, because when I reached an exit the first time it was just a black screen, but I reached to another exit, there's actually the next level. So I'm not sure, I haven't really played this game fully, but yeah, that's just wanted to make that correction there. Anyways, just a black screen once you reach the exit. Yet people find this game very fascinating, from an extra level or glitching through the walls. For me though, this is nothing to write home about. Kawaii Adobenshaz in Anime Rand. Okay. I'm fucking tired, man. Truly. an amazing experience to play this game, and words don't even describe it, man. A relic from a simpler time from 2009 comes this fucking masterpiece. It takes a shot at your typical visual novel game, but with offensive and crude humor mixed in with shitty drawn anime girls and very not safe for work. I think this game fits in tier 6 since I couldn't find any other videos on it except for videos that are in Spanish. Yeah. Mixing woods. This is a game where you collect other foods to mix later on. I can't really explain it, it doesn't make any sense and there is no clear objective in it. So, yeah. Hamster emoji. This is a game that should be played fully, made by Carpet Bones alongside with Rio 8 for providing the music and me Pete for the cover art. I don't want to spoil too much of the game, but the game stars a hamster, or Hamtaro if you like, and the main objective of the game is to eat and snooze, bringing you to various dreamlike places for you to explore and learn about the world around you as it changes each time. I really like this game. Pretty sure it was inspired by Yume Nikki, but short and sweet. Shouldn't take you that long to finish. 12 Treasures. This is a platform game where you partake in errands to make money and find the 12 treasures. From what the OP said, it is very obscure and good with a lot of depth into it. But I didn't get too far in it, so I wouldn't know. Weird Symbols. Now, Weird Symbols is a game made by the same dev who made Bunny Must Die, and it's impossible to get unless you find a way to get a physical copy of it. Or I might be wrong, you can just download it from the Pirates Bay or something. As for the game itself, it's essentially a top-down shmup game taking inspiration from Exavius and Sylvalian, featuring PD-style graphics, or in short, Platine Dispositifs Comiket 87 STG. The weird thing about this game is that the language in this game is in alien characters, making it inaccessible for everyone, hence the name Weird Symbols. You can read all about it in the LunaticObscurity link down below. Bro ID. Now, this game is really fucking retarded because you have to pay 1k euros in order to play this game. So, it's on the itch page, but really for a game like this, 1000 euros? Fucking Christ, man. But, thankfully, the OP of this iceberg linked me to a Reddit page detailing more about this. Bro ID puts you in charge of an artificial intelligence which aims to spy on the human race. The game will ask you to learn by you, make written notes, thinking forwards, a new way to move forward in the game. One Reddit user even linked to the creator's Steam page of their other creations greenlighted. I can say that some of them are something else. I guess this is just another troll just fooling everyone, or they are genuine about this. Or this is probably part of an ARG. I don't know, you probably don't know. Super Columbine Massacre RPG. Super Columbine Massacre RPG is created by Danny Ladon using the RPG Maker 2000 program and released on April 20th, 2005. This game aims to recreate the shooting of the high school back in '99 of April 20th. If you haven't heard, this game is the most controversial game aside from Grand Theft Auto due to the graphic imagery of true events. The creator of this game looks at it as an art form. Like I said for Morimiya Middle School shooting, I do not promote school shootings. Danny did not intend to make this game as a support for the shooting. He was a victim of bullying back in the day too, inspired to make this game as a reflection. He said the following: "It was a bit scary once I learned more about these boys because it was like I was looking in the mirror and I didn't want the same fate for myself." Sad Satan, a game from the deep web. The game itself is built using the Terror engine, and it was first seen on a YouTube channel, Obscure Horror Corner, showcasing the game. The game itself is your typical first-person horror game, but has a few disturbing graphic imagery of gore and child pornography. However, the version that Obscure Horror Corner was playing wasn't the real one. Someone by the name of ZK posted a clone of the game onto 4chan. Many people tried to play this game after noticing their computers ran into problems, even having their computers not booting up after playing it. In 2017, a man from Lubbock, Texas, named Gary Grave was arrested of possession of child pornography. The man ran a YouTube channel, Scare Bear, in which he posted a video called Sad Sad Satan. This can be traced back to his Reddit account Scare Bear CX that was created 4 days before the post, containing the link to the clone on 4chan. This could be speculated that Gary Grave is the creator and poster of the clone game. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that was the IndieGame Iceberg. Doing research on all of these games for fun. Some were genuinely interesting to play, even games I haven't even heard of before, and ones I don't like were obnoxious and poorly made, but this was overall pretty fun to do. Let me know if I missed any other games that were on this iceberg in the comments down below, of course. I'm gonna be real, I don't think I won't be making another iceberg video since this one really drained the fuck out of me. This is just like a one-time thing, so I don't know, maybe I'll make another fucking iceberg video, who knows, but for now this is the only one I'll be making, or it's already made once the video's up. But anyways, I would like to thank Reddit user Imasgrohn for taking your time and helping me with this video, and especially you for waiting for a new video from me. So hopefully you'll see me soon in another one. So catch you guys on the flip side. Ciao. So anyways, so that was the video, and this video took me a few months. Started writing the script like around February, and I just got it done now, and it is June 22nd, 2:22 a.m. so I'm recording this in the morning, but I just want to, point out some, talk about a few updates here and there for the channel. So here goes. First one being, I want to make longer content. Not video, not like the iceberg video, because this took way too fucking long. So many entries, so many shit I have to research. It was fun, but it was like so fucking long. Like an hour-long video. I want to aim to make videos that are like 30-ish, 40-ish minutes of me just, talking about this video game or anything really. And I kind of like that kind of content where I just talk about video games and whatnot. So if you like this video and would like to see more, similar content, I guess this is the place, channel to go. So, there's that. As for the DA Hours finale, I'm still working on it. Took a huge break and worked on this because the thing is, I want to make some side content, while I work on the finale. It's kind of like, I gotta put out more content and shit, right? So while I'm working on DA Hours, I can work on side content, like the long shit I want to do for this channel. I'm like kind of reviving this channel slowly, and because I haven't been uploading a whole lot for the last 3 fucking years. It's just life got in the way, and recently I went back to work because I was like out of commission for a while due to, COVID and all that jazz, right? And I'll be starting school soon again, so I'll be going back to school next year, early next year actually. So there's that to look forward to. But, you know, there's that. So anyways, like I said, if you like this video, subscribe, that'll be cool. If not, hey, you can always like this video or dislike it. Tell me why. I don't care. Yeah, I think that's it for the updates, really. Join my Discord server. It's quite dead. If I'm going to be honest, it's quite dead. But, you know, some new members would be nice to. I would like to talk to my little circle of fans, I would say. I don't know, but yeah, but you know. And now since I'm working, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but since I'm working though, content will be a bit slow, especially when I want to make longer content, so I don't have to dish out content every 2-3 weeks like I did back in January to February. So, and this next video I'll be working on, I think you guys will like this a lot. So, you know, this is kind of a fucking surprise video, if you may. So, you know, anyways, thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys are safe out there in these hard times. I mean, I think it's slowing down now and everybody's going out. Everybody's enjoying life again. So, there's that. And, yeah. I'm going to bed because it's late. And this is going on for almost 5 minutes now, so oops. Anyways, you guys take it easy. I'm gonna fuck off. Bye bye.